everybody. We had a lot of monsters and obstacles to deal with, but with the help of Ben and Danny, hopefully the problems are solved and I am live and about. Let me double check that on the iPad too. Well, I see an ad, so that's usually a good thing. Well, two of it's not as good, but alright, I guess we are. Yes, it is okay. Hi. You see, I love the technology, but at the same time, I'm just like, I need it to be over the board so I can just go on the screen and say, okay, this is it, this is that. Move the king up, move the queen down, voila. Alright. Glad to know this is working. So, I was looking at some of my, well, old games, Baby Dorsa games. Well, actually, not two Baby Dorsa. This is still, this was 2014, so it makes me feel old, but I was actually 2014. I was just 16 years old, 6 years old. So, not that old, but still, I was trying to find some games with good stories for one of the panels that I was doing for US Chess Jennifer Shahadi right before this class. So, that is why I took this memory lane, took this drive down memory lane. I guess that's the right way to say it. Anyways, in this game, this was a very nice game for me because this was the first tournament that I was like super close to scoring my first WGM norm, and I fell short by few rating points performance-wise. But it was a very interesting tournament. It was in UAE, in Sharjah. Man, when I was in Iran, I used to go to UAE like every 2 months, 3 months, just like play a few tournaments, win some money, come back, feel nice. That's one of the things I do miss about Middle East. It was just really, there were a lot of good quality tournaments in UAE. Anyways, this was a women specified women tournament. I think it was called like Sharjah, the capital of Islamic center, or something like that. They had a very nice chess club, so I remember it was formed like a castle. I really like that. Anyways, so this game was one of the last rounds. I believe this was 2 rounds before so this was a 9 round tournament. This was round 7. I was playing against if I'm not mistaken, yes, Abdulla Khayala. She was higher rated than me by about 100 something points. She is a very strong Azerbaijani. Um, at that point, she was a woman I am, but I think she got her woman GM ever since. I mean, it's been 6 years, man. I've updated my titles by few. Anyways, so let me show you this game. For those of you who have watched other videos of mine, you already know that I am kind of good with preparation. So I had prepared against her, but I was pretty sure she was gonna go for bishop e5, and I think I wanted to play Yanish. For those of you who are a fan of playing Yanish, I would definitely recommend that the video I did on Yanish when I played Abdullah in 2015 World Junior Championship. Poor girl, had a 7 out of 7 strike and faced me, and well, no more strike. Anyways, I think this is what I was planning to play against her. And I was quite nervous because I had some new ideas for myself in this knight c3, and I wasn't completely sure if they were the best ones to go for. So she played d4, and I was like, ooh, okay, d4. Scotch, still not my favorite to play against, especially because I played with white. After bishop c4, I was like, thank you, all the big guys up there. Bishop c4, yes. And after bishop c4, I actually do know this line very well, so if you're playing against me and one of the players' viewers, feel free to give it a try, but be prepared. Alright, so bishop c5, castle, d6. It's just kind of critical not to rush into knight f6, because knight f6, now there are e5s, there's bishop g5, a lot of different things for white to, for black to deal with. So d6, stop all of this shebang with e5, none of these stuff anymore. And now, as black, if you give me two more moves, I'm gonna put this bishop on g4, this knight on f6, maybe bring my knight on e5, go after these, and everything is under control. So white's gonna play c3, still bishop g4. If you do take here, from what I remember, just knight takes and it's still good. Black is a pawn up. I can just play knight f6 and I want a castle and everything seems to be going alright. So that is why the best move here is queen b3, going after f7. So now, even though I am a little rushing because I gotta talk a little faster in the remainder of the time, but I would like to ask your opinion on what do you want to do here as black. You do have limited choices. You can either defend f7 and deal with the problems on d4 and b7, or you could take on f3. So what do you think you should do? Should you take on f3 and after like bishop takes f7, king f8, is that something you would want to enter? Or, well, basically, how do you want to give the pawn that you are up right now back? Okay, interesting. There is a queen d7 suggestion. I am a little not sure about queen d7, because queen d7, what if just take on d4, and you can't really take back because just take, and then b7 falls, and also bishop b5 is coming up. You can't really play c6, so you gotta play like rook c8, bishop goes to a6, and this is unpleasant to say the least. You move the rook, bishop b5, and oopsie doopsie. So let me go back here. So that is kind of why we are going to look deeper into bishop takes f3. So after bishop takes f3, if white simply takes back, alright, great. Now I have knight e5, defending this guy, attacking your guy, everything is working out great. So that is why white has to be very careful and take on f7 first, and then take this. So now in this position, how do you think we should follow? Yeah, bishop f3 idea is definitely worth thinking about, but another way to think about it is in this position, yes, your king is uncastled, but the problem is for white is that this bishop here has a lot of issues. Like, you give me few moves, I'm gonna start developing, attacking your bishop. I could even try to bring my queen out this way, and your king isn't safe either. So it is a very complicated position, yes. So another idea to think about, yes, knight f6 is definitely doable. Bishop d5, I think, is something to consider, because now knight e5 is popping up. What about something with maybe just bishop, let's go to c4. Now we can want to take on here. But what if I do knight a5? I think this is also interesting for both sides. The problem is that eventually I do have to take this d takes c3, and if the knight takes, now the d5 square is also an issue. So that's something that it would be great if we could take care of immediately. That's why we could start thinking about taking on c3 first. Because now if you take with the knight, now this is bad. Why? How do you think as black we can use this? It is very complex, you got that right. So, what do you think we should do now? There's a big problem with knight takes c3. Exactly. Thank you, everybody. Knight d4, and you are in big pickle. Basically, you cannot hold your position. You play something like queen c4. I'm gonna take over here, and then I'm gonna play knight e5. You play like queen d5, but can I just do knight f6 now? I guess that's good enough, exactly. And I want to do this again as soon as you play queen c4. So you are losing your bishop on f7. So in the other line that we saw after not taking, let's say after knight f6, the issue was that eventually I had to take and he would take with the knight and the knight was getting in the game, right? So that is why now we shouldn't just play knight f6. We should use this opportunity to take that pawn. Now, if white takes with the knight, we had the knight d4 that was just mentioned. But what if white takes with the pawn? What do you think we should do now? No more knight d4, but we still have knight e5. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think knight e5 is good? Knight h6 now. I mean, it's possible, but why not knight e5? Because knight e5 you would be attacking f3 and f7. So this is much more pleasant than any other move, to be completely honest. You move the bishop, I'm gonna pick that up, then I'll give you a check over there, then I'll develop my knight. I mean, it's still pretty complicated, but black definitely is putting up a very good fight, and also having one more pawn helps. So yeah, yeah, I think this is an interesting position, but I do think that after, so let me go back here. As black, we decide to use this chance and take on c3 when he can't take back with the knight. So what do you think is the best thing for white to do? Keep in mind that we just talked about white can't take back with the knight because we go here, we take that, and the knight e5 that we did, the queen would be on c4, so it would, this bishop on f7 is the problem. So but here is white to move. So what do you think white can try and do to deal with this bishop on f7? So right now, white to move. What do you think we should do? Yeah, exactly. White should get rid of this bishop. It doesn't look very smart at the first glance because you're like, whoa, this bishop is already here um, dealing with the king, so why would we take on f8? But you're correct, thank you, King Kong, because you kind of avoid this tempo of knight e5. So, take, we'll gotta take that back. Now white gets to take knight takes c3. So, how is this any different? Can I still do knight d4? Is knight d4 still strong? What do you guys think about this position? Alright, so I see you guys still like knight d4. And heads up, my cat is very vocal and he's giving me some meowing stuff, so be careful with those. Yeah, he's made some lovely appearances on Twitch channel. I guess he wants to conquer YouTube as well, from the looks of it. Alright. Yeah, I think knight e5 and knight d4 are the best ones, but knight d4 is more natural because you're also laying a trap. What if queen takes b7? Now, how do you guys want to deal with this? You could take on f3, but, uh-oh, I see there's a jump coming up. Oh my god, kitty, you gotta go. Not the right time for an appearance. Alright, bye-bye, kitty. Good boy. Okay. He graced us with his presence, so we are all blessed. We can win this game. Yep, basically. Alright, so what now? What do you guys want to do in this position? Yep, exactly. Rook b8 first. After rook b8, queen has to go to d5 basically. Now we get the queen out. We don't need to rush into taking on f3. We can first get the queen out. No way for white to actually defend this. If you play like king g2, I still have g5, oops, not the rook, g5 and then g4, and that is also a huge issue. So, yeah, queen b7 is a mistake. Let me go back now. So after take, knight d4, queen d1 is the best move. Now, what do you think we should do here? How can we still try with the same g5 idea? Should we try and create more, should we bring more pieces before we start g5, stuff like that? Curious to see. So yes, we definitely should be considering g5, but we should, yeah, I agree. Queen f6 first. We are preparing for g5. The one question that we should definitely have an answer for is, what if knight goes to d5? What now? What do you want to do with your queen? Because if white didn't play knight d5, if white, whoops, played king g2, now we can simply play g5, or even queen g6. I kind of like queen g6, queen h5 idea first. Let's get this queen in a very dominant position, and if you play king g2, now I can simply play g5. Yeah, I really like this even more. So, let's see, what else can we go for? So, the only thing that we should actually consider, like, be worried about, is knight d5. So what do you want to do after knight d5? Do you want to do queen g6? Are you going to do, like, are you going to try and get your queen to h5, or just keep your queen on the f file? Question about f4. I kind of just, after I try, I just want to play queen h4, then try for g5. Maybe queen h3. I think I like this idea. f4. I get that after f4, g5, you want to play f5, maybe. But then I have g4, and I can start pushing this and go after the g3 with the bishop on c5. Yeah, f4, I think g5 is also interesting. Alright, so after knight d5, what do you guys want to do? Ooh, take on f3? You could, but if you take knight takes f3, what are you gonna do after king g2? Give this check potentially? But the king comes to h3. And then what do you want to do with your queen? Go back to d8? think this is a very long castle. Yeah, good one. I wish I could do long castle now. Actually, not now. My queen is under attack. But yeah, so let me. I don't think knight f3 is a blunder, but I definitely do think that knight f3 is not the most accurate one. After knight d5, I think queen f7 is just good enough. Careful not to take on f3 with the queen, because after exchange, you're still c7 is a problem. So let's say you do give this check. King goes to, let's say, just h3. You move this knight a little around. Now I can just take here and then attack, give you this nice fork. So that's why we just play queen f7. Just keep it all normal. After bishop e3, now what do you think we should do? Should we take on f3 now? Is it time? Keep in mind that king g2 is also possible, but nothing that we couldn't handle, because we still have c6, and then we give this check, and we still do this queen f6. So we could still try with g5 later on, but from what I remember, I was kind of ready for a perpetual like this, like if you play king g2, king h1. I think that was something that I had looked into, that potentially if this happens. And also, I just know if Capablanca was in a Hollywood production movie, but definitely it should be. I think that's a good idea. I would watch that movie. I didn't really feel the Fisher movie that they made. What was that? Pawn Sacrifice? Back in 2014, 15? I didn't feel that one. I thought they made Fisher look weak. Fisher was very strong, very strong-minded person, so I'm not entirely sure how I felt about that one. I mean, definitely could be better. Anyways, so king g2 would be interesting, but what if bishop e3? Now, how do you wanna? Do you think it's the time to take on f3? Well, we could bring the rooks into games, but why not knight takes f3? Don't you guys like eating pawns? What's wrong with knight takes f3? Why can't we eat it now? The problem previously was we couldn't just take it like that, because the knight on d5 was attacking our queen on f6. So why not take? Well, hold on, Rook e1, you still have issues with knight f3. So after knight f3, if king goes to h1, you have no problem. You're just gonna play g5, you're gonna do g4, and voila. So the best thing for whites is to play king g2. Now we can think about c6 or knight h4, because c6, we're not technically defending the knight, but we are going at our opponent's knight, so doable. But I played knight h4 because I wanted to keep as many pieces as I could. King g3. Now what do you think we should do? Heads up, king h3 was the best move. Can someone tell me why? Why these two moves are different? Like, why king h3 is better than king g3? Queen h5, careful. Whoops. No, the thing is we do c6, take over there, and after queen exchange, this is a drawish endgame. So this is what white should have tried to get into. Whereas after king g3, c6 wasn't the best move, but after, I think here he should have taken on h4, and after take, queen f3, queen f5, some exchanges like this. Black is still doing slightly better because of the weak pawn and the pass pawn, or later on the pawn majority. But the thing is that here, back in this position, c6 wasn't the most accurate one, because now I have the chance to actually play g5, but I slightly chickened out because I wasn't sure what I'm gonna do if, let's say, take and f4. That slightly worried me, but I simply had knight f5 check, and I did not see that one in the game because, okay, I hope that explained how hard this was for me to figure out. Knight f5 wasn't a natural move to me, and I just didn't see it. But now in this position, black is actually pretty winning. I'm gonna pick this up soon, and I'm gonna attack your queen unless you move your queen, which I'll still pick this up. Next move, I'm gonna take that. The rooks are active, the queen is active, this pawn is kind of covering my king. So it was kind of it would have been a good deal. Another move that I was unsure what I would do after was f4. But even after f4, I was like, still like, what am I supposed to do if I take it? King takes on h4, I take that, then there's queen h5. What if just knight takes on e3? But I think knight e3, I thought about queen f6, so that's not a big deal because there's queen h6. So what if queen h5, trying to cover up the king? And now basically only move. Anybody want to take a stab at it or a shot at it? I don't know why those are the expressions, but anybody wants to take a chance? I like take a chance better than take a stab, take a shot. Who says things like that? Anyways, yeah, rook g6. Good one, Jaroslav. Yeah, rook g6, and if queen tries to go to f5, you exchange that. That's perfectly fine. And you try to bring your other rook. And I looked into this endgame quite a lot after the game because I wanted to be thorough on what I missed. And this endgame is actually quite pleasant for black. As you guys can see, the king is in the center, but still dangerous. My bishop is very in a pleasant position. This pawn could become monster soon. Alright, let me go back to something else that I was thinking about and I wasn't sure how I would respond in the game. So c6 is what I played, but after g5, another move that I wasn't sure is what if b4. So after b4, I played bishop b6, a4, queen e8. Sorry, I didn't play bishop b6. That's something that I potentially could have played, but I just couldn't find the right way to break through, and I was just like, right, I know there should be something, but where is it? Where is it? And I ended up chickening out and not playing this g5. So I played c6, and we ended up just getting into this position. Check. Had to play queen e7, and finally, what do you guys think about this endgame? Is it good? Is it bad? You want to be white? You want to be black? Yeah, I think something like being able to figure out all of the moves after g5 was a little bit unrealistic, at least over the board. So, alright, anyways. Yeah, black does look quite better, but after king e7, knight f5 would have been the best move to try and exchange the knights like that. But he went with knight, she went with knight g4. I got some nice h5, and Rook f8. See, going after this cute mate over here. And we got into this position. So rook endgame, 2 pawns up, shouldn't be that hard, right? But she put up a really good fight. I thought maybe rook d6, then rook e7, but still, this endgame should be winning enough. Yeah, the dynamic, yep, I agree. So I'm gonna go a little fast right now because I'm just basically trying to improve my position. I'm trying to push some pawns. I'm trying to make white give me some weaknesses, some nice targets. Oh, please take that rook. Alright, now, rooks exchange. Let's bring the king. Trying to bring the king and saving all of my pawns. White is pretty worse, I agree, but I still need to get my pieces out. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to not rush it, and I'm still trying to get my pieces to get into where they need to go. Here was another interesting position. I thought about king d6, but king d6 I wasn't entirely sure if I'm comfortable giving this pawn up. So simple, king c8. Now I might want to go around like this. She went king e4, let's rook d5. Let's just keep everything super duper chill. And here I could have just brought the king, but I really wanted to just go eat some pawns, to be completely honest with you. If you play king f5, go after this pawn. Whoops. I have rook f4 and I'll pick all of these guys up. So she went king e5, rook d3. You eat one pawn, I eat bunch of pawns. Sounded like a good deal to me. Let's eat that guy. Let's defend here. Careful if we took over here. There could have been some king b6 ideas. But anyways, this is super duper winning now. Let's just try to get the king out. Lovely. Let's eat that pawn too, and you guys can imagine the rest. Actually, not much left. Let me just show you up until how it went. It was kind of interesting because if I played a4, then she could play something like king a8 and try for some stalemate. So I thought that was an interesting last try. But she just simply went. I just simply played rook e4, and then I got the pawn out. No need to rush it, and finally won this game. Yeah, it was a very interesting game, especially because she was high rated. I kind of got an interesting position out of the opening, but it's still had a lot of ups and downs. I think g5 would have made the game much more beautiful compared to c6. But g5 was just, I don't know if I would play g5 right now, if like having matured in life and in chess, and having more experience under my belt, as expression says. I still don't know if I would have played g5 today, so I'm not too sad about not playing g5, but I think this was a very good game. I kind of wish I had more time to ask you guys some questions on what you wanted to do. So it had a lot of tactical points, so if you want to go back and just pause and think about other moves, I would encourage you to do so. And without further talks, I am going to say goodbye to you for now and give you to my coach, Alejandro Ramirez. I think that's happening on Twitch, I think. So feel free to check him out, tell him I said hi, and yeah, this was fun. Thank you for sticking around with some of the issues that we have. Glad you stayed. Alright, I will